group's never been this quiet before in their life.
Good?
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Jason, are we good to go? Can everyone hear me? I'll take that as a yes. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining IAVA's Service Provider Teleconference. My name is Paul Reichoff. I'm the CEO and founder of IAVA. I started the group about 10 years ago when I got back after a combat tour in Iraq, and the group has grown tremendously over the last decade, and we're really excited to talk about some of that growth today and to have some of our partners here. We've got some great speakers lined up for what's going to be a pretty tight program, so I want to thank everybody for joining us and tell you that we're going to try to stick to our timeline as well as possible. But before I do, some special thanks to the Resnick Family Foundation, and Emily is here in the room with us today to represent them. Thank you so much for all your generous support. Also the Annenberg Foundation, that's headquartered here in LA, and Operation Mend at UCLA. We're coming to you live right now from the Operation Mend headquarters. Melanie Gideon's in the room with us, who's been an incredible leader for the veterans community and guides everything that happens at Operation Mend. So we're really humbled to be here today and continue to work with them in a really tight partnership. Many of you know 1 in 9 post 9/11 vets come from California. So California is our #1 state for IAVA members. Southern California is the highest concentration in the country, more than anywhere else in America. And we really believe that these folks have fought for us, and now it's time for everyone else to fight for them. IAVA's RIP program, you've heard a bit about it. It's our case management and referral service. RIP's RRRP, which stands for the Rapid Response Referral Program. It's a high-touch combination with high-touch combination with high-tech that really lets us deliver high-quality support to our veterans at a critical time. And it's really grown dramatically. We started in New York City, we expanded it across New York State, and earlier this year we were proud to launch it in California, where so many of our members are. Just to give you a little bit of insight, we've served over 200 clients in the first couple of months. We've done 388 referrals and 79 benefits received, and that'll probably change by the end of today. And just to give you the breakdown, so far the bulk of the requests we've got, the highest priority number have been in education, employment, and financial assistance. And what's great about this program is it can adjust based off how the needs of the community change. We've got some folks in the room here today that are off camera that I just want to mention and thank for being here. Jeff Park, who's from the LA area, has been on the IAVA team for a number of years now. Lauren Augustine, who is on our policy team in Washington, helping Washington understand both this program and the broader transitional challenges that our community face. Chris Goldsmith, who's been a fantastic local leader for us, especially on the issue of suicide prevention that we're going to talk a bit about more in the next couple of days. And Claire Lawless, who's one of our RIP Veterans Transitional Managers, our super case workers that lead this program. She's from the area, and she's who many of the vets coming to the RIP program actually talk to. So she's got tremendous local experience and a mastery of the landscape that veterans face. So what we always tell folks is no matter what stage of your transition you're in, if you reach out to IAVA in the RIP program, we'll get your back. That includes folks who maybe aren't eligible for benefits at the VA because of their discharge status. So we won't turn anybody away. I just want to remind everybody the website is iava.org/RIP, RRP. There's also a phone number you can call. You can email us anytime, and Claire and the casework team will be on top of it. I just want to talk for a minute about our #1 priority in 2014 at IAVA, which is combating the startling rate of veteran suicides. According to the VA, 22 veterans die each day by suicide. That's a number most folks in America didn't know before we launched this campaign a few weeks ago. But we believe it's a huge public health challenge, it's a national security issue, and it's also a moral imperative. And we think we can help change that trend. So we've got a 3-pronged strategy that we call our campaign to combat suicide that's focused on reversing that trend. Priority #1 is connecting 1 million vets across the country with transitional support services. So even this event here, our website, the event we had last night for our local members in UCLA, are a chance for IAVA to connect 1 million veterans with supportive services. We'll be in San Diego on Thursday night. We've got an event happening in Washington probably right about now. And we're going to continue to get those critical transitional resources to 1 million veterans over the course of this year. The second prong is we've called on President Obama to issue an executive order focused on veteran suicide. We know that he can do quite a bit from the White House, and having his support in a visible way will be really transformative. And finally, the third piece is calling on Congress to pass comprehensive suicide prevention legislation. A few weeks ago, we were in Washington to introduce the Senate version of that bill with Senator John Walsh. He's the only Iraq veteran in the Senate, and we'll be adding co-sponsors in the coming weeks. We may have some big news next week and in the weeks to come prior to Memorial Day. But we've seen tremendous momentum across partisan aisles and across the country for people who want to stop this alarming trend of suicides. So today's teleconference is really designed to help continue to move that dial forward, to share the information of what we're seeing and our partners are seeing, and to continue to galvanize the community. IAVA has always been at the epicenter of what veterans are seeing and what our members are seeing, and we consider our convening responsibility a very high priority for us. We want to bring together the best-in-class folks and share information as much as possible so we can work together like spokes on a wheel. One of our board members is Coach Bill Cowher, the Super Bowl coach of the Steelers, who won a Super Bowl, and he reminds us all the time that success is a team game. And we believe that very strongly at IAVA. I think today is a really important demonstration of that, and the RIP program demonstrates it every day. So in a second, I'm going to pass it over to Jim Zenner, who's the program manager for the Hollywood Veteran Center and Volunteers of America here in Los Angeles. He's going to talk for a couple minutes. Then I'm going to throw it over to Aaron Mankin, really an incredible voice for veterans nationwide. He was patient number one at Operation Mend, is a Storm the Hill veteran at IAVA. He's a leadership fellow for IAVA, and is just an incredibly inspirational and transformative leader whose influence continues to grow by the day. So just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks for Jason and our tech team for ironing out all the kinks here, and we really appreciate you joining us. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to Jim to give us an overview of what you guys do, and thank you for being here. And he's also got a Giants t-shirt on, which I appreciate as a New York fan. It's not a New York Giants shirt, it's a San Francisco Giants shirt, but nevertheless, I personally appreciate it. It makes me feel welcome here in LA. But thank you for all the good work you do, and I'll turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm Jim Zenner, run the Hollywood Veteran Center out in Hollywood. It's a 48-bed facility for Iraq and Afghanistan vets. It really was established, born out of the idea that the VA system and other nonprofits were having a hard time keeping Iraq and Afghanistan vets in a program long enough to connect to resources and other things that are needed to end homelessness. So with that, 2008, VA partnered up with my organization, Volunteers of America Los Angeles, to establish the program. And really, what we did is kind of just meet the guys where they're at when they came in, just did a lot of listening, kind of stripped away some of the program requirements that didn't really make sense to me as a veteran, and really just made it more appealing for guys. Brought on a bunch of mental health specialists along with some addiction counselors. Took a different approach towards addiction. Was seeing a lot of forcing into claiming they have a problem with drugs and alcohol, so we took that away and just made it more about examining your relationship with substances versus being confrontational. On the mental health side, just met guys where they're at. If they weren't interested in talking about things, we were okay with that. We didn't force anything. And we were just there. And I think a big part of what we do is just instilling hope as a staff, letting guys know, like, hey, we know what you're going through. We do education. We're teamed up with USC School of Military Social Work. We can help you. And another great concept about the program, one of the guys pulled me aside one time and said, you know, Jim, all the counseling you guys do during the day is fine, but the real work gets done when you guys leave. We go out to the barbecue pit, throw some steaks on, talk amongst ourselves, and kind of square ourselves away. So we've been open since July 2010. Seen a lot of guys get a lot of good out of the program. We've helped close to 400 vets since we opened, and currently we're working on opening another program called the B3 program, Battle Buddy Bridge. Basically, it's going to be 10 of the vets in the program with a program manager that we're going to hire from USC School of Military Social Work to help veterans kind of navigate the difficult process of getting enrolled in the VA, getting benefits, connecting them with VBA reps, helping them move into their new apartment. You name it, we're going to be helping them. So, and it's good, the emphasis is going to be on timely delivery of services. So, That's going to be opening here July 1st. We're going to kick that off the ground. So a lot of exciting stuff, and thank you for inviting me out here today. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you again, Jim. What Jim's doing is really heroic work, and you know, to have them at the point of attack is really, really essential, and we're really thrilled to partner with you guys. You know, one group that Jim mentioned that's been a critical partner for us too is the USC School of Social Work. Tonight here in LA, we've got our annual Hero Celebration, and we're actually going to honor Dr. Anthony Hassan, who's the head of that program and a vet himself. He's been an incredibly transformative leader and a key ally for IAVA. It's also where we've got Claire, our caseworker, came from that program. Gerard, another one of our caseworkers for the California RIP program, or graduates of that program. So it's really a key ally in this fight as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Aaron Menken, who is, I'm honored to call my friend and ally in this fight. And without further ado, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate letting me be a part of the conversation here today. Being back, really, I feel so at home here at the Operation Mid offices where we're located. Let me start telling a little bit about myself so we kind of get a picture for what I'm doing here. I served in the Marine Corps from 2003 to 2008. I did a tour in Iraq in 2005, and as a combat correspondent, as a journalist for the Marine Corps, my job was to tell the Marine Corps story. And so during covering combat operations, the vehicle that I was in hit an IED, roadside bomb, killed 6 Marines, wounded 11 others, and that day and that experience I share with others. I travel and speak all over the country and try and give people an understanding for what it's like to endure something like that, survive something like that, and come home, and that transition, how troubling that can be, but at the same time, what a blessing it can be to come home and have individuals reach out to you, want to say thank you, want to participate in my recovery, and I'm blessed for that. Probably the best example of other people wanting to care for me is the program Operation Mend that started back in 2007. I was the first patient. They reconstructed my nose and my face, and they've done a lot of wonderful things for me. It changed my life, and not just my life, but my kids' lives and their future, and how it's impacted my entire family and my communities. I can't say enough about it. But in transitioning and wanting to find, taking care of myself physically, and not being able to neglect the scars behind my scars, and seeing the program balloon to include mental health services for both service members and their families. Seeing my family receive care here is, again, it's tremendous to be involved in a program like this, and then have the opportunity to be more engaged with Iraq and Afghanistan veterans in America. Like Paul mentioned, I had an opportunity to storm the Hill last year, and we brought the VA backlog, started a national dialogue, and be able to see how we affected change. That just our being there on Capitol Hill, giving them an opportunity to see our faces, to hear our stories, the impact that had is knowing that's going to impact lives, it's going to change lives. It was powerful, and then to be back on the Hill again this year, and focus on combating veteran suicide, something I've been doing ever since. When I speak now, I start a conversation about what we're doing and how we're trying to affect change throughout our policy agendas. People want to reciprocate. They want to be a part of that conversation. So it's encouraging all across the board where people want to find out how they can help, what they can do to help, and being involved in IAVA and all of our efforts is just around the board. It's a blessing. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks, Aaron. Much appreciated. And I'm going to turn it over to a quick discussion here with these guys. You know, if you're listening along, just want to let you know we are going to post this video, and we'll also have more information on our website, on our Facebook page, and on Twitter. If you're not following us on Facebook and Twitter, please do. We've got almost 500,000 people just on our Facebook page alone, so there's always a vibrant conversation there, and kind of a veterans hall of the future. On Twitter, we're at IAVA, and you can get the latest news there. But Jim, I'll go to you first. You know, I think Aaron touched on it. The role of the families is critical here. Can you share with us, what's your experience and what works in integrating families into the work that you guys do every day? And then Aaron, we'll go to you after Jim, and you guys can talk about specifically the role of families and how and if you incorporate that into what you do.
Sure. Unfortunately, we don't do much with families right now. We've tried in the past. One of the obstacles for us is the building. There's a confidentiality issue, so we can't have families coming into the building, and we don't have building space to incorporate family stuff into the program. But actually, that's the one thing. We looked at a lot of research out of the Boston College of Social Work, and that's the one thing that we're not doing that is actually called for in the literature and working with Iraq and Afghanistan vets. So I've reached out to a few community partners. I have a lead on some space, and we might be doing some stuff in the future, but it's absolutely critical, in my opinion. Families can be an additional stressor for veterans, or it can be a partner to help buffer against stress. And I think if we're working with families and helping them understand what veterans are going through and get them more on board, I've had some experience myself going through the Focus program with my family. That was helpful tremendously, and I'd like to see more veterans have that available to them. So we are currently working on getting something more for veterans and their veterans' families.
You come to me on that one? Yeah. Next? Okay, I'll take that. Families come first. You spend time forward deployed, and you come home. Your family is your focus, and while you're there, your family's your unit. Once you come home, you transition home, ensuring that the families are taken care of. For me personally, after I was wounded, and it took 48 hours for me to get back into the States. We're so proficient in battlefield medicine. We have survivors coming off the battlefield that the country's never seen before. And that's true about these type of deployments that we see, recurring deployments over and over and over again. To have arrived home so quickly and have my family there, bedside, as I began to awake from my drug-induced coma and trying to understand where I was and what was going on, having them there at that critical moment. I was receiving some of the best medical care that I could have received, but the best medicine that I needed at the time was my family, having them around and ensuring that they were provided for, that they were taken care of, because I couldn't meet those needs for them. So there's a definite, that set me at ease, that helped me along my recovery, knowing that they were provided for and whatever they needed. Organizations like the Semper Fi Fund, and, later along comes Operation Mend and the Focus program, and seeing that their mental needs, their stressors, things that my life now and things that I have to endure, how that triggers things in their lives and how that affects me in my recovery. So seeing that they're taken care of is paramount.
All right, thanks, guys. For those following along, we're watching for the little microphone in the bottom to click on and off. So if you see a pause, it's because we're trying to make sure you guys can hear us. Now, I want to address maybe the elephant in the room, the VA. So, this week there's a lot of news around the controversy at the Phoenix VA where allegations say 40 veterans may have died waiting for care. Anybody who works in this space knows that the VA can be an important ally and at the same time can be incredibly frustrating. With the RIP program, for example, many of our referrals are to VA partners and providers. When we get veterans in crisis, they go to the Veterans Crisis Line, which I think is a tremendously successful program and one of the untold success stories at VA. But for each of you, and Jim, we'll start with you, can you talk about how and if you guys interact with the VA on a day-to-day basis and what your experiences have been like and how, frankly, you think the VA can do better?
Sure. We do partner with the VA. We're a grant per diem program according to the VA, which is a homelessness program. So with that comes a VA liaison, a licensed social worker who works out of our facility 2 days a week. And she's really responsible for connecting the veterans directly to any kind of VA needs they have through the VHA, the healthcare side. So like to optometry, primary care, psychiatry, she'd be the point of contact for our veterans in the program. Personally, myself, I got a lot of help out of the VA, and I got a soft spot for the VA in my heart. I feel personally like I'm very lucky to have the VA. We're lucky to have the VA. I think they're trying, and I've seen, and talking to veterans, I've heard that some major changes that have been made since we started coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. What can be done better? That's a good question. I think just like in the military, if you have a chain of command that doesn't start at the top as far as like really wanting to do a good job, I'm not saying it right, but basically each VA has their own executive, and I think if that executive isn't on point and isn't making sure that healthcare administration is always about the veteran first, I think it just bleeds down into the whole geographical area, and I think that's what we have at VA hospitals throughout the country is maybe just that lack of passion that a lot of us have for helping veterans, and I think that I don't have any answers, any solutions, but that's just my opinion of what kind of happens in the VA system sometimes.
Over to you, Aaron.
And if I understand the question, it's what the VA is doing, what the VA is doing well, what they could do better. And I think, in my opinion, it's engaging communities. I mean, where each VA is located, and we have guys come home. Certainly, what makes the headlines anytime we lose service members in combat. And those numbers are what they are. It's constant war. And now we have more numbers, 22 veterans a day that die by suicide, and we hear that number. One of the numbers I'd like to see more visible to our communities where we're from, our hometowns, is when guys come home, when we reintegrate back into the community, is to know that, hey, we had so many return home. What does that take? It takes a little more paperwork, which we're still trying to perfect, but to streamline that system, to see transition home, see uniformity in all places in the military. There's no uniformity in how guys are transitioning home, and to see those changes implemented and have some awareness that so many service members returned back to this community. It takes a little blurb in any hometown newspaper to say these are the service members who have concluded their service, and opportunities for communities to reach out and embrace service members as they come home, I think has been instrumental in my transition. Just having people know that I'm home, that I'm around, that I'm back, and that I've endured so much. The VA, how they can do that specifically, I'll clear it. How that system works and how it helps others transition home, I think is incredibly important. But there's always room for improvement, and like Jim said, from the top down, from that whole echelon of support, continuity of care. We talk a lot about that, making sure that individuals are taken care of all the way through their transition. It's just important to recognize where those needs are and how we can affect change to ensure that we're improving. And we have high standards. We expect the best, and when we don't see those things, we want to do what we can to change it.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Before we go, we have time for about one more question. Again, I want to thank everybody for sticking around and remind everybody again about the information, how to get in touch with our RIP team. It's iava.org/RIP. There's also a phone number. I'm actually going to try this. I'm going to hold up one of the cards since this is video. Maybe you can focus on that. If you can't, we've got these cards at every single event that we do around the country. But the number is 1-855-917-2743. That's 1-855-91-RAPID. or you can just see the big RRRP. You Google it, go to our website, you'll be able to find it. Our caseworkers will get back to folks usually within 24 to 48 hours. And I should mention, a lot of the casework gets done over email, so you don't have to actually even talk to somebody in person. If email is what you're most comfortable with, our caseworkers can make that happen. And education especially, I want to note how important that is right now. About 1 million vets have used the new GI Bill, and they're going to be graduating in the next couple of months. A ton of new folks are going to be graduating, and a big part of what this program does as well is help people navigate their GI Bill benefits. It's a fantastic benefit, a historic benefit. But if you have questions about how to utilize that, our RIP team, again, can help you out with that. But a final question, I'm going to go to you, Jim, again first. I think there's a lot of bad news stories in this space, but there's also a lot of inspiration. Guys like you that are out there every day doing great work and empowering others. What do you see that inspires you, or what's a bright spot that you want to share with everybody as we end today's conversation?
Sure. Yeah, it's just like seeing guys get better. We've had veterans come in with literally nothing, straight out of jail. You can just see it in groups and just in the hallway. They got a 1,000-yard stare. They're completely lost. They have nothing. I've seen guys like that come through the program, leave, and one in particular is living on Seal Beach. Got a new car, working part-time, going to school part-time, just really enjoying life. To see and be a part of that veterans process for me is inspiring. It just keeps me going. 3 difficult cases, no problem, as long as I get at least that one veteran who really gets a lot out of the program and finds the life that we all know they deserve. That's what inspires me.
What inspires me, I find inspiration everywhere. I see that. It's just my view of the world now is you see positive things everywhere you go. And one of the most positive things that I've seen being involved in this community is how engaged families can be and how important it is. Usually they're the ones who seek care first, or they'll be the ones who will instigate a conversation about seeking mental health care. And, being involved in the conversation to combat veteran suicide, and that it's usually the family members who stand up, so seeing that they're supported and how what they bring to the equation is irreplaceable when it comes to bettering our lives, to seeing that we're taken care of, and look for those services that are available to us and reach out for that. But everywhere you go, people just want to say thank you. People want to hug my neck, or pick up a tab, or buy me a beer, or we're like Operation Men, they want to fix my face. And it's just I'm blessed everywhere that I go, and there's a lot of bad press. There's a lot of bad news out there because that's what people report on. That's what you hear. You don't hear enough about the people who want to come up and just say thank you, people who want to serve, and people that are in this room right now who dedicate their lives and wake up every day with a mission and a mindset that has very little to do with them as individuals, but us as a community, as a whole, as a unit. And this mission, it continues, and it will for generations to come. So to be involved in it, Paul, thank you for letting me be here, and I just very encouraged on where we go from here.
And I think all of us can agree we're encouraged by both of you guys, and really honored to have you here today. I've been doing this for about a decade now, and there's an old saying in the infantry, adapt, improvise, and overcome, that we used when I was in Iraq and throughout my time in the Army, and we continue to use when we come home. And I think that's a good mantra for all of us. We continue to adapt, improvise, and overcome every single day. That's what this community is all about. We continue to tell folks we're not a charity, we're an investment. And I think the gentlemen on this teleconference with me today show how that investment can really pay off. And the investment in the RIP program is really paying off. It's changing lives every day. So just one time I want to mention that again. Go to iava.org/RIP. You can reach out to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our casework team will get in touch with you. Send vets transitioning our way. Today we had a briefing on Capitol Hill for members of the New York and California delegation, so that when congressional offices get a phone call, they have a place to send folks in transition, and that place can be IAVA. So we've got your back, is what we say all the time. We're going to continue to do that. I also want to give a big shout out to Jason Hansman, who's been running this teleconference today and helped envision and create and build the RIP program a couple years ago. He started as a veteran himself, transitioning, and now he's gone on to build and lead an incredibly impactful and transformational program. Also, Kate Horner, our program director, who helped also envision and create this program, the Sister of Marine, and everybody here in the room today. Also, the Resnick Foundation, again, thank you for their support, and Emily and the rest of the team that have really helped us build a program that's going to change the lives of countless veterans, especially as we go into Memorial Day. So I'd ask you to use the opportunity of Memorial Day to connect with this community, share the resources, and continue to grow what we think is an incredibly historic and important new veterans movement. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll post this video, and thanks for all the support. Have a great day.